everyone, welcome back to Coffee with Craner. Today I have Ryan Donnelly. He is the President and Chief Executive Officer for the Windsor-Essex Regional Chamber of Commerce. Brand new to the role, 2 months now?
About that, yeah.
Yeah, month and a half, 2 months. Also a professor at the University of Windsor. I believe you led the MBA program at one point.
Yeah, I program administrator for the MBA program.
Yep. And I was also a professional athlete, professional hockey player and coach. Calgary Flames, Anaheim Ducks, Windsor Spitfires, Kitchener Rangers, and the Lancers.
Yep, you got it.
So you played professional hockey for quite some time, and now you're in the corporate world. Recently got the role of CEO of the Chamber. So I'm excited to talk about how you got into it.
Sure.
Advice for aspiring business professionals, athletes. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah,
cool.
Let's have fun.
All right. Well, thanks, Ryan. And first question, maybe you're a fan of the show, I don't know, but we always ask about coffee. Where in Windsor-Essex would be your favorite place? I know you're the CEO of the Chamber, so you got to be selective, right?
Yeah, I don't know who all of our members are that own coffee establishments yet.
But you'd go to one of those places.
I would definitely go to one of those places. You know what my favorite place to have coffee? Sunday mornings with my kids running around and my wife at home.
Okay. We'll keep it simple.
There you go.
You don't want to offend anybody, and hey, it's brewed at home. You can be in your PJs. You're good to go.
You got it.
All right. That's awesome. And now, before you entered the corporate world, we'll talk about hockey for a little bit. I know you're interviewed all the time about your time in sports, so I don't want to
it's okay.
pry on that. But maybe just walk us through life before the corporate world.
Sure, yeah. Well, I grew up here in Tecumseh,
Mm-hmm.
The Windsor area. Born in London, but then I've been here essentially my whole life. My dad was a small business owner, which is pretty cool. So he owned a menswear store in the mall called Crossings Menswear. Mom worked for Pepsi and Hershey's, so we just did kind of the local thing. As a young kid, I had the opportunity to essentially get involved in any sports I wanted to. So I had the opportunity. My parents afforded me that. I chased swimming for a while, so I was a very competitive swimmer. I know you're looking at me, you're going like, that guy looks a little heavy to be a swimmer. So swimming was probably my talent, but hockey was my passion. So I played AAA hockey growing up, and then, we're talking turn of the century. So like 99, I got drafted to the Spitfires, my hometown team.
I wasn't even born at that time, right?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I got drafted by the Spits. Had the opportunity to play there. Became the captain. Third round pick to the Calgary Flames. Played in their farm team. Played some exhibition games for both the Ducks and the Flames. Never really made it. And then at my 23, 24-year-old year, so my fourth year pro, had a number of injuries, and it was one of those decisions that I had to make. Concussions were a major issue for me, and packed it in at 24, 25, and restarted my life.
Well, was that something, obviously not anything you expected?
No, honestly, you get drafted in third round of the NHL, and you sign an entry-level contract, and you're playing professional hockey all throughout the States, and I figured at absolute worst case, I would play till I was mid-30s, play in North America till I was late 20s, go over to Europe, play in Europe, last 5 years of my career. That's kind of like what a lot of guys have done.
That was your original plan?
I mean, the original plan was playing in the NHL and make a bunch of money. But if that didn't happen, if I just kind of continued where I was in the American Hockey League, that would have been a career path, and I would have done pretty well. Good financial position at that point. But I had, these head injuries, and I've said this story before, but in 2009, I was sitting next to Corey Perry. So put Ryan Donnelly right here. You're Corey Perry. This is Ryan Getzlaff, and we're all putting on the Anaheim Ducks jerseys. And in September of 2010, again, put Ryan Donnelly right here. Put a 17-year-old Lyndon Crane here, and another 17-year-old student back in first-year business class at the Odette School of Business. So I went from literally sitting next to two gold medalist Olympians who make $10 million a year to two 17-year-old kids in first-year math for business. So talk about a life change.
Yes, yeah. And what made you choose business after this all happened?
Yeah, so I had the dream of becoming an NHL general manager. Like that was I can't make it as a hockey player. I've always had, some business acumen, and I was a good student, and I didn't really know what program I was going to go into, but I figured if I could translate the whole hockey professional career with the business acumen, it would set me up well. So then I went back and moved home, and took a BCom at Odette.
And you're not in the general manager role today. Is that something that you obviously changed focus? How come?
I did. So I had the opportunity. I mean, I coached at the University of Windsor. Coached as a head coach of LaSalle Vipers at a pretty young age, in my mid-20s. Got pretty serious with a girl, and I know what that lifestyle looks like as a coach or general manager. I lived it as a player, and I didn't want to have that. I didn't want to do the move every 3 years, spend 2 years in the Midwest and then move to the Northeast, and then you're in Winnipeg, and it didn't set up well for what my long-term life goals were to be. So I kind of readjusted my sights and ended up getting married to my lovely wife, Rachel. And now we have 2 boys, 7 and 4, Cohen and Brooks, 2 little monsters, little mini-me's running around. And life is awesome.
Yeah. Okay. And now, what's that dream role for you? Are you you steer direction, right? You were hockey, general management position in a hockey organization.
Yep.
And now, corporate side.
Yeah. It's interesting because I assume some of the audience that are going to be listening in today were also at the mayoral public address for the chamber.
Yes.
And at the end of that, I had the opportunity to, in front of 350 people or whatever it was, tell Drew Dilkins how he changed my life.
Yeah.
So I was sitting at the Faculty of Human Kinetics at the time and working in communications, and that was when Drew Dilkins talked about how in 2018 General Motors and undermined the city, and we needed to economically diversify our community, and that whole thing, and that rung pretty true to me. And I said, I know the community. I've sold it from a business school perspective. I've sold it from being a professional athlete, as a captain of the Spitfires. I was involved in the film festival, and this whole idea of what economic development would be, I didn't really know. But I said, I know I can do everything that's associated with it, so I'm going to make a few phone calls, and that's how that career changed. So what am I going to do long term? I honestly have no idea. I haven't grown up yet. What matters to me is I want to be, I want impact in the communities that I live in. Like I always have. I had the opportunity when I was playing in Des Moines, Iowa. Like I was the guy that went to the children's hospital. I was the one that volunteered to read at schools. Like it just has come natural to me, and something I like, and it makes me feel good about my life. And now I have the opportunity to turn this into a career.
Yes. And what aside from the impact and seeing how you're actually changing the economy, what else about economic development really fuels you?
It's a fascinating field, and the Chamber of Commerce is a version of economic development. It's one of the partners in the ecosystem. It requires a bunch of different perspectives, right? To be good at economic development, you have to, of course, understand business, financial acumen, all of that type of stuff. You've got to understand finance, and you've got to understand politics, and you've got to understand like all the different nuances that go into what makes a region a region. Place marketing, place branding. There's all kinds of different things that go into what a strong economic developer is. And I love the creativity that you can have within that, because every single day will be different. I just got back from a meeting with one of the heads of the BIA of the community here, and he was talking about the small business community that he represents. Tomorrow afternoon, I might be going to a 2,000 person automotive manufacturer, right? Like it, and every single day is different. So you've got to be creative in how you approach every single conversation, and I really enjoy that.
And now it's been 2 months at the chamber.
Yep.
You're obviously shaking some things up, making some moves. As the leader of this organization, what's next? Where do you want to take it? What are some exciting plans you have in store?
Yeah, well, I mean, at the time of filming, tariffs haven't happened. At the time of airing, they may have. So I don't know how that'll play out. That will greatly impact our community and the way in which the chamber needs to react. This ambiguity of will it happen, will it not happen, is creating a significant amount of tension in our community that just is not good for our business environment. So let's get that squared away first, whatever that looks like. But quite frankly, Lyndon, like, the Chamber of Commerce has been around for 150 years, and I'm proud that it's, or will, very close. We're on our 150th year very soon. It's been an institution. It's an institution in all communities. We need to ensure that the value proposition of what the Chamber is and how it delivers value to the members and the greater business community continues to evolve. Because 150 years ago, there wasn't such thing as AI, and there wasn't such thing as Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or TikTok or, the last 10 years, there's been such a rapid change in the way in which business has been operated that the commerce portion of the Chamber of Commerce has significantly changed. So we have to evolve what the chamber is. So I'll always think about from that lens, and that's what I've asked my colleagues and my team is, what do we do to ensure that the next 10, 20, 150 years we are relevant, we are important, we do provide value to our members, and we provide value to our community. So let's be creative. Let's try new things. Let's explore new partnerships. Let's be more experiential. Let's do everything that we can to ensure that we're relevant. And I'm looking forward to it.
So for those that don't know what a Chamber of Commerce is, how would you best describe it?
So a Chamber of Commerce is essentially a group of members that all collectively buy in, like it's a membership fee, that become this group of businesses and business professionals in the community. Essentially, Chambers of Commerce have three kind of primary buckets that you would fall into as to why you would be a member. One, cost savings. So we have a number of, they're called affinity partnerships that members have access to. Could be cost savings on gas, could be access to marketing, could be access to insurance. It could be like all of the affinity partnerships, and then pure cost savings. The second bucket is business networking, building your business community.
Yes.
And then third, and that's most traditional way in which a Chamber of Commerce has always been known. And then third, and it doesn't mean that all businesses access this, is the advocacy and policy pushing, right? Right now, being tariff time.
That's a heavy bucket right now.
Advocacy is out of this world. Policy development is out of this world. It is 95% of my day. Were we not in this, I'd say we'd be working hard on, how do we make sure that people shop local? Now, the same thing is, and you've probably heard me say it before, but, the Chamber of Commerce message related to tariffs has never really changed. At the end of every speech that either the previous CEO has made, or you hear any Chamber of Commerce, and they'll say, look around the room, look at these people first to when you're considering buying a mortgage or a home or insurance or whatever that professional service may be, or that product, right? So in light of what's going on across the border here, our message has never changed. We say, look local first, look within your chamber first, look within your community first, and the entire region will be better for it. So
absolutely. Yeah. And now you've wore many hats in different roles.
Yes.
Professional athlete, worked in the municipal government in Lakeshore.
Yeah.
As economic development officer.
My job title changed about 17 times.
Yeah. You're in planning at one point as well.
Yep.
Many hats.
Yep.
For somebody that was sitting next to you in university, or a young Ryan Donnelly, what general advice would you give them when they're trying to find their passion? You knew, okay, swimming you were great at.
Yep.
Passion was hockey.
Yep.
And you pursued that. But for some people, they can't find that passion.
Yeah.
How did you find it?
I think finding your passion is good, and it's great, and that's important. Understand what you need out of your day. right? So if I'm talking to my MBA students, or I'm talking to, a 21-year-old version of me, understand what makes a day a great day for you, and figure out how to make sure that that happens day after day. So in my case, I knew that I needed to feel that whatever I was doing mattered, right? And not just mattered to me or my pocketbook. It mattered at the community level, because that's a lot of I think it's important to be a part of my community. Like that is one of my personal mantras. Be impactful in your community. So finding your passion is great, but finding what you can go in, and where your knowledge, skills, and abilities, and what kind of drives you, and how do you mash those two together. So for me, I never want a day to be the same. I don't want to go into an office, and I didn't want to go and pound a keyboard all day long and whatever it might be. I wanted every single day to be different and creative and have exploration with new businesses, new people. I have to meet with new people on a daily basis. So to me, that kind of all create the confluence of maybe a little bit of sales, maybe a little business development, maybe a little bit of how do I turn that now into the community element. And that's kind of where the whole ECDev thing came from. So yeah, figure out what you want your day to look like.
That's a good point.
And then work backwards, because if you told me that you love spreadsheets, well, I'd say, okay, great, you're probably not going to be great in ECDev. You might be a great actuarial, right? Like that might be the career path you want to choose. So yeah, figure out what a good day looks like, and then how do you multiply that by a career.
And you see a lot of students in your role at the university.
Yeah.
Do you share that same message with them?
All the time. Yeah, and the other thing I always share too is you got to love what you sell. I've had careers that I was working for, and overall the company sold a product, and I just generally didn't care about the product we were selling. It's not that the product wasn't great. I mean, it's an extremely important product, but it just didn't matter to me. Like I didn't get excited about it. Whereas the product that I sell now is the betterment of a community. Like to me, that gets me going, right? Especially when I was doing foreign direct investment. If I can drive down the street and go like, that building right there and those 100 people, I helped land that company. That does it for me. That makes me feel really strong. That makes me feel stronger than putting an extra $100 in my pocketbook. So for me, the money driver was good, but it was not the reason why I choose careers. And you got to think about what that looks like for everybody.
Yeah, you can't just chase the dollar.
No.
And now for somebody that wants to be in a very, very senior leadership role like you are, what message would you share with that individual?
I would say don't change who you are. Regardless of where I've been, I think I've been the exact same person. Like the hockey player.
Not letting the title change you.
Yeah, you can't, right? Like I was a 16-year-old kid playing for the Spitfires. I was who I was. I became the captain. I was who I was. I went and worked for, in pro hockey. I was who I was. Then you go to whatever your first couple careers are. Like, be yourself. And for me, being myself is I'm gonna have to smile every day. I'm gonna have to have fun. I'm gonna have to be serious, but also like don't take ourselves too serious.
Yeah.
Take the moment serious, but like enjoy your day every day you possibly can. And know that the colleagues you're working with you're spending more time with them than you are with your partners in life.
Yes. Yeah.
So
very true.
Have a good understanding of like who do you work with, what are you doing to make their lives happier on a daily basis, and success will follow.
That's a big part of you entering an organization where many of your teammates at the chamber may not have known who you are. You're a new person entering that leadership role.
Yeah.
So how do you maybe just to kind of walk through that? What did the first day on the job aside? I mean, the tariffs kind of threw everything.
Yeah.
But when you were thinking of before you walked into that office for the very first day, what was your approach that you thought of?
That's a good question.
because you're taking the seat of somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does anything go through your mind where you're like, okay, this is how I'm going to act. This is what I'm going to say. This is how I'm going to approach others. Because it's a leadership change, right? It can be very scary for the employees. And
yeah, and you know what? I don't know if I thought through it well enough. And I don't think that I didn't. It's not that I didn't think through it well enough in that, my current colleagues are looking at me like, wow, this guy wasn't prepared. Far from it.
Yeah.
I think that if I would have said, okay, how am I going to be tomorrow? And what am I going to say? And what is this going to look like? And when are we going to meet? And when are we going to talk about values and all this stuff? If I would have thought through that, I would have tried to create something that was not genuine.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went in and was genuine. Like we've spent a lot of time together. Pretty consistent conversations probably in what you're getting today and what you'll see with my team. Don't force something you're not, right? Like I'm looking at some of the artwork.
Yeah, not my artwork, but yeah.
No, but like
it's loud.
But I'm not Gordon Gekko. Yeah. Like I'm not going to be the super intense, like in your face, aggressive person.
Yeah.
There's times to be aggressive and there's times to be direct, but also there's times, every day you got to be yourself. And the minute that you stop being yourself and you start trying to create this persona of being the captain or the leader or the CEO, then people look at you and being disingenuous. So, I love talking to an audience. I love meeting people. Like, that's great. That doesn't mean that that's the only skills, knowledge, abilities that CEOs should have or shouldn't have. But the minute that person that does love spreadsheets and does want to sit in their room and pound out some data tries to be me, or the minute that I'm trying to be that person, that's when things will fall apart. So being yourself on a daily basis,
that's a good point. Yeah, understand your skill set and understand your limits. And find the right role that fits you as a person. Your personality, right? Yeah. So excellent. Yeah. Well, I thought this was a great conversation. Lots of we probably talk for hours about
chat forever
about everything. But very every time I listen to you speak, there's some nuggets that I pull out. Even when we did that interview at Odette, that was exciting, and the whole group of students was completely engaged. I got up there, I was talking about myself, and then they fell asleep, and then you got up.
No.
And it was very, very captivating, and I think people appreciate that you're genuine, right? Like you're not coming across, you're not sugarcoating anything. You're not you're not acting like a politician in some sense, right? It's where it's like a facade.
Yeah.
In some
cases,
need that
political acuity, right? Like
for sure.
Difference. The way that I'll talk, if it's a formal interview, will be a little bit different. Like you have to be yourself. Like, don't get me wrong, you're yourself. You have little versions that you have to slightly adjust along the way.
Absolutely.
Out, driving golf balls into the forest, I'm going to probably swear a little bit more. I probably won't have as much polish and like all that stuff, but it's not going to change, right?
No. Yeah. I mean, I made the politician reference because sometimes you see, at the door, somebody knocking at the door to get your vote is a completely different person of how they treat their team and their staff. And I've seen it. I've met certain individuals where it's like it might not be just in politics, but it could be other fields
everywhere. Where the minute that you start putting on this disingenuous personality and face, people, especially your team, like you're going to be spending, like I said, like I spent 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week with some of my colleagues. Like, you better become yourself in those situations, because I couldn't imagine how exhausting it would be to try to not be yourself.
Yes.
That I couldn't imagine walking home. We put enough effort into our day. There's enough stresses in our life that the last thing we want to do is worry about how to hold up an appearance for days, weeks, months, potentially years. I couldn't imagine how exhausting that is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this was excellent, Ryan. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Those watching is actually just a couple doors down. We're in this is the old chamber office that we're recording out of, and this might even be where his previous CEOs were here. This could have been your office. Yeah. I mean, it's a corner office, has a nice view. So very, very grateful for your time, Ryan, and excited for this new role.
Yeah, honestly, Lyndon, like, I think I've said it before, but I'll say it on camera too. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
You're doing amazing work. Your day job, and then also the effort that you put forward with Amherstburg Council, and the effort you make to try to get folks like me out here to help inform your audience. You're yourself. You're your own genuine person, and we appreciate that. And I thank you for being you.
Thank you, Ryan. It means a lot. Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll catch this next episode. We want to rewatch this. Visit coffeewithcraner.com. We'll see you.